In this lesson, I'm going to overview your choosing your lesson topic assignment. Let's jump right in. In the week 1 module, you'll get to the assignment course lesson topic page. But before we jump into what this assignment looks like, I want to give you the big picture view of what we're going to accomplish during this course. We're essentially going to be taking a topic and then building out a lesson plan from that you could potentially use to teach at your hospital facility, in your academic institution, or even for an asthma education class or a COPD educator class that you might be using with patients. It's important to me that you gain practical knowledge from this, and I want this topic to be as applicable as possible, meaning that if you have a topic or an area of work at your facility that you're currently involved in, consider using that as a topic for this course. We're going to develop that, and at the end of this session, you'll have something that you could readily use within your facility. So let's take advantage of this learning opportunity in order to provide a practical outcome for you while you're at work as well. So this first week, we're going to be choosing a topic and developing it a little bit so that it's something we know is going to work. Next week, we're going to work on course objectives that are going to add more specificity to what we're actually going to be teaching within our course. Then in week 3, we take a little bit of a break from the lesson plan project, and you'll take a quiz covering the material that we've covered so far. Then in week 4, you're going to build off of the course objectives that you built and some of the organizing your teaching information that you've already learned, and you're going to fill out and build out that lesson plan. After the lesson plan, once we get to week 5, we take another quick little break from the project and take another quiz. And then in week 6 and 7, we kind of culminate our project by showing and demonstrating what it would look like to present it. Now, you're not going to have to present the lesson plan in this course. You'll do presentations in other courses during this program. Here, I'm just looking for what it would look like if you were to present this course. So you're going to prepare a Google Slides presentation and submit it. That way I can provide you with some feedback. And then finally, in week 7, we're going to see what it looks like to present your course in a public awareness type of fashion. But don't worry too much about all of that yet. It'll all make sense once we get there. This week, we're just simply focusing on the development of our topic. Now, in choosing your topic, I provide you with a template. But before we jump into the template, scroll all the way down to the bottom, and you'll see a link with an example of what the assignment would look like when it's totally completed. Also note that you've got the rubric for the assignment listed below that. In selecting your topic, this part is pretty important. I'm giving you a lot of autonomy on what type of topic you choose. Remember, I want it to be applicable to you and specific to your work area or your interest area. So if you're already in academics and you've got something that would benefit you in the classroom or in the clinical education arena, then go with that. If you're working in a specific area of the hospital and there's something that you would like to present to your department or maybe for patient education, then go with that. Basically, nothing's off limits here, but I want it to be medically related to either education in the academic setting or clinical setting with either students or patients. And then the last thing that may be helpful for you to review is a full sample lesson plan. This is going to give you an idea of where we're going in a few weeks. And that might help you get started this week when you're just selecting your topic and figuring out what it is you want to present. So keep that in mind as we move forward for the next few weeks. All right, let's jump into the template for this assignment. All right, so take a few minutes to read through the information and instructions at the top of the template. This is going to help you narrow down some ideas of where to begin in choosing a topic, and also make you aware of the paragraphs that you're going to write at the bottom that explain this process. So the first area we get to is the main topic. And there's an example below this sheet here that's already provided, and you can see the main topic that's listed here. So it's pretty broad. We really don't know too much about it other than it's talking about the treatment of women in the military. But by what aspect are we looking at that from? So there's a bunch of options here that you could choose that can help narrow that topic into a more precise viewpoint. So we're going to look at some of these different aspects, and you can choose whatever you want from this list, or you could add a different aspect if that pertains to your topic. Once you've narrowed by adding this viewpoint, then you're going to combine the main topic and the viewpoint in order to provide a new statement for your topic. And so here we can see that we added the psychological impact of the treatment of women in the military. So we're going to be looking at the psychological aspect of the treatment of women in the military. Now the next step, number 3, is to narrow that viewpoint with a specific focus area. So here you've got the option to use a specific time period, a specific geography or setting, and then also a specific demographic. So in this situation, the time period would be current, the geography would be Iraq and Afghanistan, and then the demographics is providing an option that could focus on either male soldiers and why they perhaps attack female soldiers. So that's narrowing down the research that we're going to be looking at when we're identifying how to present on this topic. And then finally, we take the main topic, add the viewpoint, and add the focus until we have the final topic for our lesson plan. Now understand that as you're filling this template out, you might find that in a few days or maybe next week as you're preparing your objectives for your lesson plan, that you identify you need to change directions just a little bit, or maybe you were a little too specific, or maybe you went in a direction that ultimately you couldn't find enough information about, and so you've got to switch things up a little bit. That's okay. Just send me an email letting me know how you're going to change it, and I can advise if necessary on those changes. Now, an important part of this assignment are the 2 descriptive paragraphs that are listed here in section 4. Make sure you don't miss this area. It's really important. Also take a look at the example that was provided in the course for what these paragraphs are going to look like. I want to impart that it's really important that this first paragraph describes the process of narrowing your topic. In general, this course is about teaching. So I'm assessing you on your ability to learn the material about teaching and demonstrating your understanding of the teaching aspects of the healthcare setting. It's common for students to be so focused on the medical topic that they've chosen that they provide me a paragraph of how they chose that topic from a medical perspective based off their previous knowledge. That's not what I'm looking for in this class. I want you to be able to consume the materials I'm giving you, synthesize it, and then present it back to me in a way that demonstrates you've learned and understand the material about being a better teacher, not necessarily about being a better medical professional. So keep that in mind. This class is about teaching more than it is medical, although we're using the medical setting and medical content in order to demonstrate those teaching abilities. So in this first paragraph, I want you to use the resources that were provided within the week 1 module in order to describe to me your process for narrowing. So use the Bloom's taxonomy document, use the document that I provided about objectives, and also talk about the outstanding teacher aspects that you've learned and synthesize that into how that directed you thinking about how you're going to narrow your topic. Use at least 2 course-related resources in doing this. So I expect you to cite in the text as well as referencing that cited material at the bottom of this form. And remember, at least 2 of your references have to come from the materials that I presented you in this course. If you want to go outside of the course to get some other material, that's fine, and I encourage that as well. Just make sure you're citing it and referencing it properly. Now, this second paragraph is where you get to wax medically about all of the content that you're an expert on regarding this topic. So here is where you're proving that there's enough information out in the research for you to build a full lesson off of. The worst thing that could happen here is that you choose some kind of topic that is way out there that nobody's doing research on, and it's really hard to find information to support your positions or your teaching on. Therefore, I want to make sure that you've done a little bit of research and have some good reference material that you can fall back on that's going to be that foundation level of your teaching as we relate back to Bloom's taxonomy. You've got to have good reference material at the bottom of that hierarchy while you're organizing your teaching before you can build up on it. So this is where you provide at least 2 content-related sources. So if you're doing a topic of blood gases, you could use your Egan's textbook or the Hess textbook or some type of research as it regards to blood gases. The Oakes books on blood gases are really good, or any other research paper for that matter that you're able to find out there. Just make sure it's a credible source and that you have the ability to cite it and reference it properly. And speaking of referencing properly, make sure you take a look at this video, which is going to walk you through how to properly format your references. Thank you for joining me as I explain this assignment. If you have any questions, please reach out to me, and I look forward to reviewing your assignments and providing feedback. Here's to being an outstanding teacher, and make this a great week.